Hello everyone, today I am here to do a tag. I feel like this is my first tag of the year, which is very interesting because you guys know how much I love tags. So I actually stumbled across a romance book tag that I haven't done before. If you guys don't know, I love the romance genre. I'm still relatively new to it. I read a lot of mainstream romance, things like that. I need to get better into it. I need to do a deep dive into it, so just want to preface that out there. But I did find this tag on the channel Falling Over Books, and I know the tag was originally on Twitter, so there's like 25 questions. So I'm going to try to go through them quickly as much as I can, but it talks about romance books. I love them. You might get sick of the same answers. I don't know. I just thought this would be a really fun tag to do, especially because Valentine's Day is coming up, you know, all the lovey-dovey stuff, which I love all year round really, but let's get into it. The first question is the first romance you remember reading. So when I was in high school, I was really into Nicholas Sparks. This is when I was really trying to find what I really like to read. I read a lot of like Jodi Picoult books in high school, and I also read a lot of Nicholas Sparks. Like I read The Last Song, Nights in Rodanthe, The Notebook, The Guardian, things like that. So I guess, are those technically considered romance? To me they are, because Nick Sparks has a certain formula. I'll just say that, but I enjoyed them. I don't read them anymore. The last romance you read. So I'm filming this relatively early than when you're seeing this. I tried to film like a week beforehand. So the last romance technically I've read, that physically I've read, but probably not as you're seeing this, is Float Plan by Trish Dollar. It was actually really good. I wouldn't say it was so much of a romance. I believe it's classified as a romance, but it was much more than that. It was a book about grief and also talked a lot about romance, but it was really good, honestly. Next up is the romance you're most likely to recommend to a newbie. So I get a lot of these questions. What romance do you recommend for someone getting into the genre? And that's a hard question to ask and answer, I guess you could say. I think a great place to start with romance books are any Christina Lauren books. A lot of people have heard about them. They're very easily accessible. Like a lot of them are in Target. You know, a lot of people enjoy them. Me as well. And they have such a big backlog that they're sure to be one that I think somebody would like. One of my favorites is The Honeymooners, but Christina Lauren's a great one to recommend. And I always recommend one of my favorites, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. There's no secret there. This is possibly my favorite romance. I just really love it. So, the romance you're most likely to recommend to another romance reader. Again, another hard question. I mean, it depends. Like, how are they really into romance? What type of romance then? Historical romance, contemporary romance, which I really enjoy. I would try to recommend one that maybe is not super mainstream, that a lot of people may have not heard of. For that, I'm going to go with Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. I think a lot of people here on BookTube know about it, but if somebody were to ask me, like, doesn't watch BookTube but still loves romance, I would totally recommend that book. Next up is an underrated romance that you wish more people would read. For that one, I'm definitely going to go with You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Dario. I talk about this all the time, and I do believe it's gotten some attention. It was in the Goodreads Awards for romance, but I don't hear it talked about enough. I loved it a ton, and I would love to see this get more love. Another one is Kiss My Cupcake by Helena Hunting. Helena Hunting is another author that does have a deep backlog, and I haven't read all of her books, but I read her latest one last year, Kiss My Cupcake, and I fell in love with it, and I heard like nobody talk about it, and I thought it was a great read, so those two for sure. Next up is an overrated romance that you wish people would stop talking about. For this one, I couldn't have one book in particular, but this is going to be an answer that you may truly hate me for. It's going to be an author, and for that, I'm going to say Colleen Hoover. You know, Colleen Hoover is very popular. I get it. I don't love them as more as I think about it, and I just honestly quit reading her books, so I don't enjoy them. So I wouldn't call her overrated. Is that what it says? I wouldn't call it overrated. I just don't enjoy them a ton. That's just me. I know there are so many Colleen Hoover fans out there. Awesome. I'm happy for you. I just don't enjoy her books, and that's okay. We could still be friends, I promise. We can have different taste. But I don't know. That's... Moving on. Next up is an auto by author. I think for me, I've kind of already answered that question. Any Christina Lauren book, I will buy. Another one for sure is Talia Hibbert. I have come to love both of these romance authors a ton, and like their newest released, automatic buy for me. Author you used to love that you've since abandoned. I guess for that one, I would have to say Colleen Hoover. Also Nicholas Sparks. I've just found his books so formulaic, and like, you know, you're gonna get a super sappy love story, but also probably a really sad ending, and I'm not all about that. So I guess those two. Next up is your favorite trope. I love romance tropes. Probably any trope will do. I've said time and time again, my favorite romance trope in any genre ever is always hate to love. Give me two people that hate each other at the beginning of the book, but are madly in love at the end of the book, and I am a happy camper. Also love the fake dating trope. I'm trying to read more books with that or like fake dating, fake engagement, whatever. I'm into it. Also second chance romance. I'm a sucker for like a bittersweet love story where maybe they fell in love, something happened that drove them apart, but years later they're coming back together. I eat that stuff. So speaking of trope, your best book with your favorite trope. For this one, I mean, I've talked about my favorite trope is hate to love, the hating game, hate to love trope for sure. Fake dating. Ooh, I really enjoyed The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai. That was a great one. It was like a fake engagement. I loved it. Didn't like, even though it has your favorite trope. For this one, I'm gonna go with The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams, I believe. I read this a couple years ago. It was cute. I just didn't love it. It had a second chance romance aspect to it, but I don't know. It was more too cheesy for me, so I didn't continue on with the series. Should I? I don't know. You let me know if I should. I think what really made me not continue on with the series, especially, is because the second book followed a character from the first one that I just really did not enjoy. So that could be why. Maybe I need to give it another chance. Next up is most hated trope. And this one I had to really think long and hard because I'm like, I like all romance tropes. But then I was like, oh, accidental pregnancy. I'm not a fan of that. And I think the reason why is because, you know, sometimes people don't want that in their books. That's totally understandable. Sometimes that really triggers somebody that maybe can't get pregnant or doesn't want to get pregnant, you know, things like that. And I just don't think it really adds a lot to the story, but that's just me. It's not like I hate a trope. I don't enjoy it. There are some books that I've read that's had that trope that I still really love, but I just don't love that aspect of it. I don't know. I also don't love any sort of toxic romance, like when it's just so toxic, they're just horrible for each other. I've read a few of those. I'm not a fan of it. So I guess those two. A book you liked even though it has a trope you hate. I just talked about that. I would tell you, but I don't want to spoil it for you. I don't want to dissuade you from reading the book at all. I don't know. Do I have a book? I can think of one, but it's so hard. Like, I really enjoy the book, but I don't love that aspect of it. It's a hard one to answer. Your problematic favorite. So problematic, what does that mean to me? Like, it's kind of like a hodgepodge. For me, I'm gonna go with Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. Tessa Bailey, I really enjoy her romance books, but she has a tendency to write a lot of men in her stories as very just cocky, know they're the best, think they're the best at everything in bed, and just teach the girls all the things, and the girls are just, oh, I don't know anything. I don't know if that's problematic, but especially in this book, Travis thought he was just the best at everything. I ate it up. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it was interesting, but he annoyed me so very much. So would that count as a problematic favorite? I don't know, but he was problematic for me because I was like, okay, you're hot. We know. Let's move on. Book that everyone else loved that has you scratching your head. For this one, I don't have an answer because I don't have a book that I just loathe so much and I can't stand why everyone else loves it. For romance, especially. For romance in particular, I don't know. So I'm sorry. I have to skip that one. Your favorite romance landia person to follow on Twitter. So romance is very big on Twitter. Honestly, I'm not on Twitter anymore. My profile's still active. I get on there not a lot at all. It's just, Twitter is a place where I have had a lot of anxiety stem from because it's just filled with a lot of hate. I don't go on Twitter anymore because honestly, it's just a lot of meanness follows on there, but I still check up on it every once in a while, so I don't have an answer. I know there's so many different romance people out there on Twitter that are awesome that I still would recommend and love. I'm just not on Twitter a lot, so I can't feel like I can answer this. But a person or place you go to for recommendations or review. I do have some. Riley from Riley Marie, I love her reviews. Stephanie from Stephanie's Book Talks, I really enjoy her reviews. Jess from Peace Love Books. Bree, I believe, from In Love and Words. I really enjoy her romance reads. And there's just so many. I think Remarkably Lisa is another great one too. There's so many. I know I'm not even like scratching the surface on romance booktubers, but there are a lot of them out there and they are awesome. I highly recommend you check them all out because I am just a newbie. I don't know much at all. They are really knowledgeable with romance and they go into like the deep dive of romances, whereas I'm just kind of like, on the mainstream surface level. I need to get better, I'm sorry. But they are awesome, check them out. I'll link them all down below. Book that has a character that reminds you of yourself. This one, I don't know. This is a hard question to answer. It's been a book I've read recently, I'd say in the past couple years, where I've read the character and I'm like, this is me 1000%. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older and I'm not looking for that as much anymore. I think when I was younger, I was really looking for a lot of characters to identify with, and now I'm just getting old, so maybe not anymore. I don't know. I'm horrible. The next question is this, a romance cover you love. For this, I have several. Not Like the Movies by Carrie Winfrey. I read this last year. I read it on ebook, and I love the covers of this series so much. The romance series overall, it's okay, but the covers, oh, I love them. The X Talk by Rachel and Solomon, which came out this year, love the cover, also love the book. I'm a big fan of like illustrated covers, so like Take a Hint, Danny Brown, with the bright colors, the bright yellow, the illustrated couple on the front. I am a sucker for. I love them. I love the illustrated covers. Like, I know that's a trend that's happened in the last couple of years on BookTube, or in publishing, I should say. And I'm here for it. I enjoy them. It makes me buy them, honestly. I'm a sucker for it. A book you've reread more than twice. Oh, this is interesting. For this one, oh, I'm gonna have to go with I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella. This is a chick lit book. I still would consider it romance. It's just on the chick lit side. I've read this physically. I've read an audiobook. I really enjoy it. Speaking of this book, the next question is best romance audiobook. So I don't listen to a lot of audiobooks. I haven't for years. I did when my son was really, really young. He's 6 now, so he has favorite music. I listen to a lot of kids' music. Like, the amount of like Pixar music I listen to is insanity, especially in the car. So that's the only real time I have to listen to audiobooks, and so I don't listen to them anymore. I'm sad. I wish I could. I don't have the time. But when I did listen to audiobooks, one that I loved, any Sophie Kinsella book, I try to always listen to. I see that, but her latest book I read because I don't have time for audiobooks. I miss them, but I love I've Got Your Number. It's my favorite Sophie Kinsella book and one of my favorite audiobooks, honestly. And I don't know if I've read any other romances on audio. I just, you know, things change as you get older, have kids, if you want kids, all those many things. We have best romance rom-com movie. Well, you've come to the right place because your girl loves some rom-coms. They are my favorite genres. I rewatch them constantly. My favorite rom-com of all time is When Harry Met Sally. I love it. If you had asked me this a while ago, I would have said You've Got Mail. I'm a big Meg Ryan fan, a big Nora Ephron fan, but I just love When Harry Met Sally so much because it's got so many tropes in it. Like, they hated each other at first, and then they were like friends to lovers. I adore it. It's my favorite romance movie. It's one I watch on repeat like a lot. I probably watch it like 3 or 4 times a year. Like, I can't get enough of it. And the last 2 questions are like favorite heroine, favorite hero. I didn't write these because I don't know. When I think of that, I think of historical romances, and I'm still getting into that genre. I've read like a total of 2 historical romances, so I can't give you any sort of information on that. Hopefully by the end of the year, my tune will change and I'll have some recommendations for you as far as like favorite heroes, favorite heroines, but not of right now. The last question is your all-time favorite romance. I think we have all established that I love The Hating Game. I love it. But there's so many more books that I love that I probably don't talk about enough on my channel. How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams, great one. The Red, White, and Royal Blue is another great one. I can't think of any more. The Worst Best Man by Mia Soso, awesome book. Alicia Rye books I really enjoy. Any Taylor Jenkins reads. They're not so much romance heavy as I would say women's fiction, but they still have a romance element into them, which I really enjoy. Yeah, there's so many more. I need to really expand my romance reading for sure, because I do love the genre and I want to read more than just like the mainstream, I don't know why I keep saying mainstream, the most popular ones, and I need to be better. If you have some romance recommendations for me that I need to read based on what you see I can enjoy, I would love your feedback and love your suggestions, because I need to be better about reading like backlist ones, deep dive books, all those many things. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you love romance as much as I do. Bye.